Hello one and all, and welcome back to the channel for another movie review. Today is finally the day where I get to talk about the long-awaited, much-anticipated Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel to 2009's critical and massive box office hit Avatar, once again directed by James Cameron. So it's been 13 years since we last saw these characters. We're back on Pandora following Jake Sully, Neytiri, and their little family of fellow Na'vi. And something happens involving the Sky People, and that's really it. I can't really go into the plot. I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. But let's just say that the discussion for an Avatar sequel has been going on for so long. There was so much doubt that we were even going to get this in the first place because we constantly were getting, oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Oh, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22. Now we're finally here. I was 11 years old when that first Avatar came out. And I remember it being such a cultural phenomenon. Everybody went to go see it. Everybody was talking about it. It made so much friggin' money. It ended up becoming the highest grossing film of all time. And a lot of people like to flack on Avatar, calling it a piece of crap. I don't think it's a piece of crap. I rewatched the film a few months ago when it did its re-release, and I think it's still pretty great. Sure, the story is predictable. Sure, the writing is a little wonky. And sure, some of the acting isn't exactly the best. But the visual scope is so awe-inspiring that you can't take your eyes off screen and be unimpressed by what James Cameron brought to that film. And I was excited for the sequel. I was excited to go back to this world, see these characters, and just see what James Cameron was going to bring to the technology utilized here, because obviously we've come a long way since the technology that we've gotten in 2009. And I have to tell you that on a technical level alone, this movie is absolutely spectacular. The visual effects are some of the best you will ever see. I was in absolute awe watching this. The underwater photography was so breathtaking to witness. I kept saying to myself, how does he do this? How does he do this? The power of James Cameron, you never underestimate him when it comes to the visual scope of the movie. And I saw this in IMAX 3D, and I'll talk a little bit about the 3D in terms of the frame rates a little later, but the visuals look spectacular. It's done. It's win visual effects at the Oscars. I mean, I feel like we all knew that even before the movie came out, but now that we are seeing the movie, yeah, it's win visual effects. There's no caveats with any of the technical aspects of this movie. Regarding the HFR in IMAX 3D, after a while, it didn't bother me, but at first, I'm not going to lie, it was a little jarring, and there are certain sequences where the HFR is utilized, and it's like, okay, we don't really need it for this, but it was cool seeing something different, and honestly, if there's anyone out there that could utilize the HFR rate, it's probably James Cameron. So, regarding the acting of the movie, I want to give a shout out to a lot of the performances. I think the acting is improved here, especially from Sam Worthington. There was a lot of emotional weight given to Jake Sully this time around, and I think it's utilized very beautifully. And Zoe Saldana as Neytiri, once again, she knocks it out of the park. She is so freaking good in this film. I'm kind of bummed they sidelined her a little bit in this film, but the emotional weight on her especially, my God, bravo. Like, she is so good at crying. I say this all the time, and I'm going to repeat myself. When a certain actor cries, even if it's out of context, for some weird reason, you find a way of crying with them. Zoe Saldana is one of those performers. When she cries, even with all that motion capture work, it's like, how are you making me cry watching blue people on screen? It's incredible. The power of James Cameron, truly. The directing, the visuals, the acting, all that great. I want to also shout out Sigourney Weaver, who plays a very different character in this film. She plays the daughter of Jake and Neytiri, the adopted daughter of them. I was a little thrown off at first, because it's Sigourney Weaver playing the kid, and it sounds like Sigourney Weaver. I get the intention, but about halfway through the movie, I kind of brushed that off because her performance was absolutely great. And the children, for the most part, they're all great. I can't list all their names, but I really liked all their performances. There's only one child actor in this movie that I just wasn't vibing with, wasn't gelling with, and we'll talk about that in the negatives. But also Cliff Curtis and Kate Winslet being here, I loved both of them in this. Kate Winslet reuniting with James Cameron is so exciting to me because Titanic is one of my all-time favorite films. And I remember her saying like, "Oh, I don't know if I'll ever work with James Cameron again." Fast forward 25 years later, they're working together again. I wish there was more given to her, but when she was on screen, she knocked it out of the park. She was so good in this. The story, though, is very predictable, and that's what kept me from loving this movie. And I'm so happy there are a lot of people that are being blown away by this movie, aside from the visual scope of it. The story just felt very predictable to me, and the villain, listen, Stephen Lane is great. He's awesome, and I'm happy that he's back, but low-key, I don't understand why he's back. And again, not going to spoil anything, but it's just like, what's the point? Is there really a point of him being back? Everything else is so serious, but then you have these goofy, hammy villains, and it's like, why? Like, come on, Jim. Really? Like, you're so focused on giving us a visual spectacle that delivers for sure, but the story, I wish it were better. And also, did this movie feel 3 hours long? You felt the runtime, but at the same time, it didn't entirely feel like 3 hours long to me. And there are some sequences that I do think could have been cut out, and it would have probably benefited the movie greatly. And I'm really curious to see how much was actually cut out, because I'm sure this isn't the final cut. I'm sure this isn't everything that James Cameron shot for the movie. I'm sure all 3 hours and 12 minutes of this movie aren't what were shot for the movie. I'm sure there's an additional hour, 2 hours there. And I get it, we've been gone for so long, but I felt the runtime. Even though I really liked the movie, I just didn't love it like a lot of other people are. And I have to get this out of the way. I'm sorry. I don't like to diss child actors. The kid that plays Spider, I'm sorry, wasn't vibing with him. I thought he was really bad. And we'll see what happens with his character as the series progresses. But for this film, I didn't really like the performance. The character was okay, but the performance, no. There were so many moments where he had to have this emotional heft, and I don't think he delivered. Which is a shame because a lot of the other actors knocked it out of the park, but him, nah, fam. Nah. But overall, this is a film that's definitely worth seeing on the big screen. This is the kind of film that you go see in theaters with a big crowd. Do I recommend the 3D? I do. Do I think it's going to gel with everybody? No. But you're going to be in absolute awe of the visual presentation that is given to us. And I had a really good time with Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm really glad that James Cameron is back directing a movie. It feels great to be in a time where we have a new James Cameron movie, because the last time he had a new movie, I was a kid, and now I'm an adult, and it's just so surreal that we finally have this movie. Avatar: The Way of Water gets 3.5 out of 5 stars. I know this review made it seem like I was being very negative towards the movie, and believe me, I wasn't. I really enjoyed the movie. Would I see it again? I'm debating that, but it's definitely something that I'm happy I saw on the big screen, in 3D, with all my friends, with a big crowd. I cannot wait to see what Avatar 3 brings to us. I hope it's not 3 hours long. Cut it down just a bit, James. Just a hair, please. Just a smidge. Just cut it down a bit, please. Thank you. Guys, if you've seen Avatar: The Way of Water, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your favorite film directed by James Cameron. Stay tuned for more content. My top 10 films of 2022 are coming very, very soon, so be on the lookout for that. Guys, really from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching this review. I seriously appreciate you guys, and I'll see you soon.